Even if this year's vaccine isn't very effective, health officials continue to tout its benefits. But some researchers have noticed a curious and haphazard correlation between one season's vaccine and the next season's flu. Kelly Crow explains.
When it comes to the flu shot, nothing is simple. This year, the vaccine was so mismatched. In healthy adults, it offers almost no protection.
Maybe not zero, but it's certainly far from the kind of protection that we typically expect.
In a normal year, that's about 60%. But there's always a risk that the vaccine won't be a good match for the virus. And there's another inconvenient truth emerging. Research is showing that getting the shot one year might make the next year's vaccine less effective.
That's an uncomfortable thing for people to hear, but it definitely seems to be a real effect.
Yeah.
Well, there's still, as far as I know, there's still no proof anywhere in the world of human-to-human transmission of corona.
Really? Are you for real? Well, I mean, it feels like, I'll tell you what it feels like to me. That whatever it is, I kind of feel like it's probably pretty bad, but it's definitely not at the level, like they've missed something.
Well, the reason why I say that is, okay, yes, the corona is a nasty virus,
yeah.
But the theory that I'm going with, because I've studied infectious diseases for 2 years, is it's actually being transmitted through vaccine.
Okay, yeah. Now it's
not a human-to-human transmission. People are getting it because the vaccines they've made since 2015 have a deadly combination of viruses in them, particularly the flu vaccine, and corona is in it.
I see.
So people are getting it, and they're dying maybe, but it has nothing to do with human-to-human respiratory transmission. And so how would you ever prove that? Somebody gets sick and dies, they test them and has corona. You can't go, oh, well, I saw it leave Peter's nose and he breathed on Jane and that's what killed Jane. Like, respiratory diseases are invisible.
Right, yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, I still have yet to get a response back from Fraser Health in regards to contact tracing, whatever that means.
Oh my God. There's just so much money in all of this stuff that circulates around this industry, from the masks to jobs to linen for the bed, for pretend hospitals that are set up. Like I don't know if you know this, 40% of the entire British Columbia budget every year, so whatever the government spends, like the British Columbia GDP is $450 billion a year. That's how much money we make in BC. All the businesses, everything is about $500 billion.
Okay.
And so what they spend is, let's say it's $500 billion too. I don't know, okay?
Right.
So Adrian Dix, who's the Minister of Health, he gets 40% of that money. One ministry, the health ministry, gets 40% of the entire budget. And we probably have 12 ministries.
So do you think that there's obviously you feel that there's a modus operandi, like there's a motive behind some of this at some level?
Well, yeah, so from a broad picture, and we're recording, is this?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, yeah, we are.
So what people like, I believe, and again, I do my homework, I do my research.
Yeah.
And I'm used to researching, I'm used to studying corruption, and I've lived and worked and done this work all over the world. So there has been a trend in the past 20 or 30 years, mostly coming from the States and big American corporations into Canada, what we call corporate managed medicine. So this is not like me being healthy, eating vegetables and exercising and taking care of my family. That's health, that's natural health. Corporate managed medicine is a major global industry. And that's why Adrian Dix gets 40%, because our tax money is going into that industry to build bigger hospitals, more machines. I mean, you just have to watch TV and you see all the ads for these hospitals. It's like they're advertising sickness now. They're advertising diabetes. They're advertising cancer. And so it just keeps going into this industry, and short form people like me call it sick care. And so my family is not in the sick care system. We're in the natural health system. We never go to the hospital. We never go to the doctor.
Wow.
Right? We're not vaccinated. But other families or other people are constantly using the sick care system, and that's where the money comes from. That's Adrian Dix's money, and it's taxpayers' money. It's big, big business.
Yeah. Such a heavy topic. I got to tell you, like, even me talking about it with to you about it, look, I've had people run at me in the past when I was a PI with like knives and needles and tried to take me out of my misery. This frightens me more in a way because
I know it is.
Because you know, like,
it's profiting off the decline of health.
Yeah.
And we see this pattern globally, everywhere. Health is declining.
Yeah.
And it's because there's profit, there's more money in a sick population. There's no money in someone like me and my family, a bunch of vegetables, some Band-Aids, and Tylenol once in a while if I drink too much vodka. There's no profit off a family like mine. And these corporations have shareholders and they want dividends. They're not trying to really get people to be healthy. They're trying to make a profit in the medical industry, and that's what I'm trying to do, is get people to see it as a business, see the bigger things that are going on around us and what's motivating them. They're motivating policy, they're paying off politicians, like tech resources, who has that huge oil sands project up in northern Alberta that they just put on hold because of the wet Wet'suwet'en protests.
Right, yeah.
The big, what do they call it? Yeah, oil sands, big oil sands,
Yeah.
The biggest oil sands project in the world. So that was being developed by a company called Teck, and they used to be Teck Kaminko. It's an old company in BC.
Yeah.
Teck is downtown Vancouver on Hastings Street. I know the chairman's family. I grew up with them in Vancouver. It's a big company now. So in order for them to get permits to do their mining in BC, they built a new hospital.
One hand washes the other.
Well, we shouldn't be wanting to build new hospitals, you know what I mean? That's not a win. A bigger children's hospital is no win for society. But we're kind of conditioned to believe it is.
Right. So how do you explain to, like, so how would you go about, like, for myself, I got to tell you, I don't know what to believe on any side of things because there's just so much information out there. It's hard to validate what's real and what's
You mean
bogus.
for your movie or just in general?
In general.
I can give you a tip, yeah. Well, what I do is I follow the best scientists all over the world, and they're the ones who typically have left the industry or have been shunned. They're not the millionaire stars writing for the journal. It's not Bonnie Henry. It's not people like that. Those people are very much in the paid sick care system. It's real, honest scientists who have paid the price for speaking out. Someone like Andrew Wakefield. He is probably the world's leading measles expert. So follow someone like him. He's going to tell you what the reality is with measles and the measles vaccine, not a health minister who is trying to push, you know, hundreds of thousands of units of that vaccine through the British Columbia system because he's paying for them and he needs to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And he needs to justify that. So nothing to do with the business of it, and definitely not mainstream media in Canada because they are not telling the truth.
So why do you think that is? I mean, because I don't know why why do you think most people should question media? I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
well, the media as early as 5 years ago would report on vaccine injuries. Let's just talk about vaccines. I'm not saying this is all about vaccines. So 5 or 6 years ago, there was big stories about vaccine injury on Fox News, CBS, things like that. Like, hey, someone got killed by a vaccine. It was a news story, right?
Right.
You never see that anymore because in between 40 and 70% of all advertising on television now is pharmaceutical advertising. So those news stories aren't allowed to run because the advertisers will pull their money. And that's my business. I came from that industry. You make a TV show, the advertisers have to approve it. It's called network notes. The network sits with the advertisers and they make sure that And some of it is good. It's like if they're advertising cereal, they want it to be in the cartoons.
Right.
If they're advertising minivans, they want it to be in Grey's Anatomy, right? So it has to match. But it's so different now because of the pharmaceutical money that's in television. And if you sit and watch 2 hours on one of these stations in the evening, you'll probably see in between 10 and 20 pharmaceutical ads.
Yeah, no, I know. I'll say that I don't have to look too much to research that to know that I've seen it, because it's in a lot of people's stand-up comedies. Such as Chris Rock. I think the first time I heard that was Chris.
Healthy and happy and live a long life and walk on the beach and you're a senior citizen and take the drug.
Right. Yeah, I guess we're buying into the system that way, right?
The good news is there is a major attempt to regulate it now, and the vaccines will be next, but maybe not for another year or two. A Nobel Peace Prize winner, Bernard Loan, who's one of the world's best cardiologists working out of Maine, he's in the state of Maine. He's launched a campaign with researchers from all over North America. 3 of them are from Vancouver. You can speak to them, they're here.
Okay.
And they are basically saying now we're killing people with drugs, and particularly seniors. And the report, it's a paper, it's a published research paper called Medication Overload. And the numbers, the statistics in there, from hospital costs to dead senior citizens, basically will blow your mind. The numbers are so high.
Well, I mean, you know, there is a feeling that the more that you take, the more the bigger germ is going to come along, because it's got to defeat the defenses that you have up, right? If it's a battle.
Well, and the germs are okay. Like, we always live with 100 viruses all around us every day. The germs are good. The germs make you healthier and stronger. You want to expose yourself to germs and viruses and stuff. It builds up your immune system. You don't want to stay home and hide from that. That's how you get less immune strength.
Right.
You want your body out there fighting this stuff. But say pharmaceuticals in particular, it's very common now for seniors to be on over 3 at a time. I know someone who's on 11. And nobody has ever done any research to show, well, how are all the 11 interacting with the other 10 inside the human?
So what are these? So what do you think the doctors are doing then? If they're prescribing this much stuff, I mean, a doctor in theory has a Hippocratic oath, right?
Yeah.
Not to cause harm.
I can tell you what a very high-profile doctor told me. So this is a real sort of statement from a doctor, not just my opinion.
Yeah.
And he told me that he's been a doctor for a long time, and he said that the system in British Columbia is so corrupt now that a lot of the doctors, they don't care anymore. They're so angry, they're so alienated because it's not what they went to school for. It's all about profit. Turning the patients over through the system, through the hospital, machines, drugs, surgeries, tests. And someone like me, we're targeted all the time since we have children. Oh, your kids need this. Oh, they need that. It's all about money. And we know as natural, I'm an old-fashioned parent. I grew up in the 70s. I'm like, my kids don't need any of that stuff because I didn't have it. Right. So why would they need it, right?
Right.
And so that is very much how we have a nurse whistleblower in our movement.
Yeah.
She contacted me, and she's saying the exact same thing, and people are afraid to speak out because they're about to retire, they've got their pensions, they will totally be blackballed, they may even be threatened, and there are even doctors being killed, that the money is so big. Like, if Trudeau buys 10 million shots of the coronavirus, which is less than 25% of our population, or that's about 25%. If he buys 9 million, because we're 36 million in Canada, right?
Right.
He buys 9 million shots to cover only 25% of us. That's $720 million that will go to the vaccine company, because apparently they're selling it for $80.
Wow. And I mean, I'm going to guess, based upon our...
That's one product, yeah. One vaccine alone.
Yeah. You know, it's having come along and photographed and documented some of the last 2 protests. And by the way, you guys take some really long routes.
Oh, yeah. yeah, the last one, way too long, right? We have to keep them for 45 minutes, but we're not going to do marches for a while. We're going to do stationary events now.
Okay. Oh my God.
Sorry about that.
No. I mean, it's a good thing for me. My steps need to go up, and I need to eat better, and there's lots of things that I need to do for myself.
Yeah.
So, that wasn't the issue. I was just bugging you on that.
Well, when we do it, because you might want to know this, we do it actually to stay on big streets that won't disrupt neighborhoods very much. So our last march, we could have gone through the West End streets to make it shorter, but we really would have inconvenienced citizens, and so we stick to the bigger streets.
Yeah, there was some not so positive reporting in regard. I mean, I don't think there ever is when it comes to a protest. In regards when you got, I lost track. I stopped at Burrard and Davie. That's why I stopped and I took the bus.
Really? Oh my God. You shouldn't be allowed to film our story if you have to take the bus. Or you know what you should do actually is get a hoverboard.
There you go.
You see that girl on that circle wheel?
I know, I saw that. That's not bad, yeah. Or I can just keep on working it and start walking more and bettering myself as a person. But no, look, I had to do what I had to do. I just couldn't keep up.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, then you're carrying gear, right?
Sure, that's nice. Thank you. But like, I heard that you guys stopped in front of the hospital. And
oh yeah, that was a biggie. Do you want me to tell you why how that happened?
Yeah, if you don't mind, because yeah.
So I've been an activist for a long time, and there's certain things you do, and they have names and stuff. And so we are on a march, right?
Yeah.
We've been doing marches, and I designed the marches because I started the movement after the Gundy Salt March, when the British prevented the Indians from mining their own salt and to threaten them financially. You know, like over 150 years ago.
Yeah.
And so Gandhi said, we're going to march because they're stopping us. And to me, that was exactly what happened with the BC government when they shut our economy down. They were stopping us from being able to create livelihood. So I said, we're going to march. And the march has a certain benefit to it. It's not confrontational because everyone is moving.
Yeah.
It's very visual. There's a lot of, I knew it would work on social media. And so you choose different activist things for different reasons. So when we stopped at the hospital, that's what's called an action. And you're literally forcing something. It's called direct action. And you're confronting the corruption or whatever the issue is. No, it's not about being violent, but it's about direct confrontation. So when an animal rescue person goes in and steals an animal from a farm, that's direct action as well. You're not just talking about the problem or writing letters. Right. You are confronting the problem directly. So this guy came out of nowhere. I'd never met him before. He said, I'd like to stop in front of St. Paul's. And I was like, that's a great idea. I should have thought of that, right? And I thought, we're just going to speak through the megaphones to the doctors. It'll be peaceful, whatever. Okay, well, we turned the corner, and you saw they're all lined up, like security. Everybody's waiting for us, and immediately the marchers they're yelling no vaccine. That's what they were yelling in the video.
Yeah.
And I'm in charge with the cops, right? They're looking at me, and I'm like, okay, we'll be here for 1 minute. And the cops said, okay, that's fine, 1 minute. And everybody moved forward, and it started to feel tense. It looked more tense, I think, than it really was.
I didn't see the video.
Okay. It's on my feed. 30,000 people have watched it in 2 days. It looks nastier than it was.
Yeah.
But this is what direct action does. It allows citizens to confront the people directly who they feel are misleading them or who are in charge of this corruption.
You're gonna get everybody back? Okay. Let's go. Okay.
But the best thing that happened was we were all standing standing there watching all these nurses, and we respect the doctors and the nurses. I mean, of course, everybody does. Who doesn't respect the doctors and the nurses?
Right.
But they're all standing there in their biosafety gear in the public, exposed to germs.
Yeah.
And that's a breach of protocol. They're not allowed to do that. And so we're all sitting there going, why are they all outside? And we've seen them in videos doing this before, and that's why everyone got angry, because we were like, this is fraud.
Right.
Those nurses are going to go back up there, and they're going to break safety because there really is no pandemic.
Right.
And we were gone within 60 seconds. I live streamed it, and it was less than 60 seconds. We were marching again.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of, I will say that in looking at a lot of the protocols, so many times I go, well, how is it not passing from one person to the next right now? Like, how can you not be?
Yeah.
You know, I think I saw some video out of Italy in like 2 hospitals where it was super strict, but like that's rare and few and far between that I've seen that. So anyway, I mean, I think you're getting like I said earlier, it makes me really afraid, as in the subject matter is unnerving because so many people are heated up over it. It's a really divisive topic.
How much do you know personally about the infectious diseases industry? Like, before this, did you know anything about it?
No, not really. No.
Oh my God.
No, I think that's why it's okay that I'm filming it, because I don't know, and I think a lot of people don't.
No, they don't. And it's also sciencey, right? So it's weird. It's not like cars and airbags and cell phones that you can relate to, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've been an activist for 20 years, and I tell you, like Blood Diamond War, Kids Without Hands, genocide, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
The infectious diseases industry is the most corrupt industry on the planet, by far. If I had to put forth which one, this is it.
Really?
And it's been this way for 50 to 60 years. And they've been able to, and there's some good work being done, some virologists who are developing some vaccines and whatever. It's not like it's entirely done this way. But there is a huge group in this industry that have, for 4 or 5 decades, consistently been lying to the public, scaring them about things they don't need to be scared about in order to profit off vaccines. And it seems unbelievable. It seems unbelievable for someone like you. I mean, I'm used to it because I've been researching it for 2 years. Right.
Yeah, it's a lot to take. It's a lot to take in, because for me, I don't doubt corruption at all. My time in Africa opened my eyes to it, and so I don't doubt that there is corruption. I just think it's part of government.
And even some of it is, I use that word, but it's like a blanket term. So tell me how you think about these two things, okay? Because it's not like it's all like all these people in big bad rooms wearing dark costumes going, oh, we'll kill everybody, right? It's also intentionally a badly managed industry, because that allows profit. So in Canada, do you believe, like the average citizen believes, that there's probably some risks to a vaccine, right? Nobody believes that they're 100% safe.
I don't think so. I think everybody, they may do it, and they feel...
Here's the risk. Right. Well, okay, so there's a risk. So you watch a vaccine TV commercial, there's no mention of risk.
No.
There should be.
No.
Right? There should be.
There should be.
Yeah. And so that's part of the corruption. That is policy that is intentionally not there. The industry does not want mothers to remotely think this vaccine their kid's going to get is unsafe. The other piece of it, which you may not know, is in the States anyway, and it's sort of similar in Canada, the vaccine manufacturers are protected from liability. You can't sue them.
How's that?
They're protected. There's a law that's been in place since 1986, and they have a fund that pays out people who get injuries that almost nobody uses. You cannot sue a vaccine manufacturer for liability if you're injured. It is against American law, and it's been that way since 1986. So the average person, again, is not comfortable with that. They would not think that's correct. Like, you get your kid hurts itself with a pen, you sue the pen company. You can do that, a car seat, whatever. Not with vaccine.
Right.
There's nothing that exists for people. So those two things alone, you don't think it's like people sitting there cooking up vaccines all the time. It's just a very bad, injurious, managed industry. Because I think personally, because it's sciencey and it's complicated, and people have trusted it for so years. They trust their doctor in that white coat when they go in with their baby, right? And they don't do their homework. I mean, a mother will allow a child to have 4, 5, 10 injections, and she will read nothing about what is in that needle. Nothing. She'll read about the cookies and the crackers and the television and the cell phones, whatever, but vaccines, no. She won't educate herself at all. And that is weird. Why is that going on? It's because women and moms are discouraged. Nobody says, yeah, you should check into it. You might get hurt. You should look into it. Nobody says that. The doctor doesn't say that. The nurse, the school, Pierre Trudeau, Bonnie Henry, even she writes things in the newspaper. She never mentions there are risks to vaccines, and that's deception. That's a lie.
Yeah. Do you think that? What do you think the future is going to hold? Because, you know, as we were talking before the audio. Before I had to start recording my audio on the phone here, I got my phone right up to the iPad. We were talking a little bit about how this, you know, right now, it seems like it wants the subject matter. Most media outlets are not discussing it as much, if they're discussing it at all. They're just talking about, oh, there's a protest and so forth. And then there's a lot of videos out there that immediately are basically launching attacks at each other online. You know, one video will come out talking about vaccines and their dangers, and then another video will come out and try to debunk that video, and so forth and so on. But one thing that resonated for me, what you said was, you know, this is it's bringing out some heavy emotions, like almost violent emotions. Like, that's what I've noticed. Maybe not you.
Because of the injuries?
Yeah, because of the level of, you know, like people are getting angry, right? And
yeah, and it's not like we're being lied about, televisions and sweatshirts and things like that. Like, it's about things that are being injected into the body. There can't be anything more dangerous than that.
Right. So where do you think it's going to
happen? What's going to happen is, I've been researching this industry for 2 years. I didn't know anything about this. I ended up with unvaccinated children purely because I was pregnant in 5 countries and I traveled a lot, and I just sort of slipped through the cracks, really.
Right.
And I never was motivated to go do it because of my age, and I was like, whatever, they're healthy. But 2 years later now, this movement to create transparency and challenge this industry is so much bigger than when I started researching it 2 years ago. It's huge now. And if you want to see who's talking about it, turn on Fox News, because they are finally talking about the corona fraud. And that's the word they're using. They're using fraud. Wow. I'm not the biggest Fox fan or CNN fan or whatever, but we're gonna bust this. It's gonna happen soon. More and more people. The messages I get, the people that are asking me questions who weren't a year ago or 6 months ago, and it's not that there won't and can't be good, safe vaccines. It's just the ones on the market and the way the industry behaves needs to be fixed.
Okay.
The theory of a vaccine can work, and many live vaccines have benefits.
I see.
But that's not what's on the market. That's not the measles. That's not the corona. They used to use a lot of animal products to make the vaccines. They switched to human products. That was a big problem. And one of the biggest problems is that the blood supply that is used to manufacture the viruses is tainted.
Huh.
And the government has known about this for over 20 years, I think, maybe 30 years.
So what do you think? What kind of change are you, what are you hoping then? That, like, I mean, obviously you're drawing attention to it through protests.
Movement is a broad. We're kind of changing into a broad overall human rights health movement, because I believe, and a lot of us working on this, is that the more educated the average person is to go and just click on their phone or open a book or make a phone call, that's where we get the biggest broad-based change.
Right.
And that's my belief as an activist, and because I'm a TV producer, I know the power of that. If you can get, I want to get 5 million Canadians in this movement talking about laws around health and safety, 5G, vaccines, everything, right? Glyphosate, junk food. And not just a few thousand people as leaders talking about this, but every single person thinking about it on a day-to-day basis. That's where the big changes come, big shift. And so that's what our movement is really trying to do now, is get more people out talking, asking questions, doing simple things to shift the entire landscape around health. Like for me, it's always the same pattern of corruption. You have an industry, you have government, and then you have what's called collusion, where the industry manipulates the government to get what it wants and put its unsafe products into the marketplace. So for me, it doesn't matter whether it's glyphosate, vaccine, 5G, junk food, whatever. It's all the same players doing all the same things. But so I'm interested in 5G, and I will be more probably over the next year. I don't know much about it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in the corruption, the loss of health, the results, what's it called, the collapse of basic public health because of failed policy. And the reason why I'm really passionate is this is what killed my mother. She was really deceived all through the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s that smoking wasn't harmful. When doctors were on the ads, right?
Yeah.
They had doctors in the ads, and so she was the victim of that. She was a result of that, and she could have stopped smoking, right? She had a choice, but she was way too addicted. And she died in the 80s, and it was 17 years later that they put the warnings on the packages of the cigarette. 17 years after she died. And I always think, I wonder how many more mothers died in those 17 years.
Yeah.
And when I started researching vaccines, and I saw that chemicals, agrochemicals from commodity feed that was given to animals, and those animals, their blood is drawn to manufacture a measles vaccine, I was like, those agrochemicals will go into the blood, and that blood's going to go into a kid, and it's going to go into that kid's brain, and it's going to damage that brain. And I sat back and I was like, this is exactly what killed my mother. It was an industry that had no regulation and nobody knew much about it. I couldn't believe the average mother wouldn't know there could be chemicals, agrochemicals, inter-child vaccines. And a light bulb went off and I was like, this is the work that I want to do. And this is happening all over the world. These companies don't want regulation. They fight with lobby groups and hundreds of millions of dollars to stop regulation.
What would you say then to the majority of folks are would say, hey, look, we're fine. The government's given us the CERB. The government's doing all these bailouts or loans and so forth and so on. And I think that you would tell everybody to research things in regards to vaccines, in regards to what's coming up next. But what do you say for folks that are staying at home right now? Like, what do you think they should do?
Well, I don't like to set up expressions to tell people what to do, right? I don't know. Everybody's got their own stuff going on. Yeah. But I do know some basic things, and this is one of them. When a person becomes a person like me, who fights every day to build and invests in, builds and fights natural health. That's how I live. As soon as I wake up till I fall asleep, I'm doing everything I possibly can. It's a hobby, it's a passion, it's a huge part of my life, natural health for me and my family. If we can get more people to want natural health, then they take care of the other stuff. They'll start making phone calls, they'll start reading vaccine inserts, they'll be more like me. And so I always try and use myself as a pattern, and I think, how did I end up here? And it's because I care so much about my health. And part of it is because I lost my mother, for sure.
Yeah.
But part of it is I've just been living a very healthy life for 30 years. I'm 52, and I've really been doing it since my 20s. And when somebody fights for something they want, they're unstoppable. I mean, you probably know that. You're fighting for the passion to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Maybe someone that you love and you want their love, or you want to travel to. You know how hard people fight when they want something. So I'm trying to create an environment where people fight for their health. And if everyone fights for themselves and their families, then we're going to fix this.
Yeah.
And that's easy, just to fight for yourself. It's hard to think, oh my God, I'm going to sue the government. I'm going to get rid of the chemicals. Stuff that we're focused on is big, hard, long battles.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have the time for that. But everybody has the time to take care of their health. Pick an apple instead of a donut. You know, go talk to your grocery store and see if they can get more organic food. Everybody can do little tiny bits. And Jane Goodall talked about that a lot. You know, the famous Jane Goodall.
Yeah, yeah.
One little drop of water. We're all just one little drop of water, like in the ocean. And that's how the ocean is so big. You just have to be the drop. You just have to take care of yourself. That's doable. That's achievable.
100%. And right now, my nutritionist coach is looking at this, is going to look at this and go, what have I been telling you this whole time?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you a couple tips. One is stop eating animal food for 3 months, because that's an unhealthy move that it's hard on your body.
Right.
Get rid of the animal food, and a really easy thing is to get rid of any alcohol if you drink alcohol. Those two things will change your life.
Yeah, and I've heard nothing but good things about that. So.
Well, can we kind of call it a night? Because I'm going to go do some stuff with my kids. But, you know, I love your interview style. You ask really wonderful questions, and I can tell you're really searching for meaning in this. And whatever I do and wherever we go with the group, please come. You're always welcome. There's a lot of people that are really passionate about helping people like you get our story out. We need that, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I love people. In general, I love people, and that's why this is the best thing in the world, right? And I mean, we all want to see our planet Earth and our fellow human being doing better. And you know what I mean? So, and everybody's got a viewpoint on that. And I think that I'm lucky that I love cameras and I can document it, right? And 20 years from now, look back on what happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as you're going along and seeing things in the news and picking up on media and discover what the story is, anytime you see stuff around these issues that you think are health, ask yourself the question. This is a really easy thing to do. Are you watching a news story about natural health, or are you watching a news story about the sick care industry? Next time you watch news for a while, or you read a magazine, or you see a bus shelter ad or whatever, are you seeing vegetables and exercise and sleep and good relationships, because those are the benchmarks of natural health?
Yeah.
Or are you seeing hospitals and profit and equipment and all that kind of stuff? Because they are two very different things. Natural health versus, you know, profit, medicine for profit.
Yeah.
And you'll start to see the patterns of those two different things. And like I said, people that are naturally healthy, we're not profitable to anybody. Except farmers.
Yeah, right. And I love farmers.
Yeah. Okay, well, have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, you too.
Enjoy the rest of your drink.
Yeah, it's cooled down a little bit, but yeah, I'm going to enjoy it.
The other thing that I may do, I'm definitely going to launch we're trying to get people to run their own campaigns over the summer, like an individual.
I see.
And my campaign is called Annul 376. I want to get rid of the vaccine surveillance regulation that has been in place, and I'll send you the link to that.
Okay.
Adrian Dix put this into place to basically surveillance all of the children in the province and what they're doing with their vaccines, which is none of his business. The government, it's not their right to know this, right?
Yeah.
So we need a strategy, we need an action, and I'm going to try and find 50 to 100 mothers who are willing to go on a hunger strike.
Wow.
Until this regulation is annulled in the British Columbia legislature in Victoria. It's a very radical move. You probably remember that from Ireland, the hunger strike. Yeah. But it's a very successful tactic or action, activist action.
Yeah.
And sadly, one of the best tools to get these politicians to get rid of these corrupt laws is to shame them. And that's what we are forced to do, is hold up a mirror to their actions so the public can be educated and they can go, oh my God, they're really doing that. So you can look for that, the mom hunger strike.
Okay, I will, 100%. Okay. See ya. And there you go. There's The signature piece.
Even my kids do it.
Right on. Okay,
Bye.
bye.